In the far reaches of the galaxy, where alien empires had ruled for thousands of cycles, humanity was still a new arrival. They had only recently begun exploring the stars beyond their home system. Most alien civilizations considered humans fragile, short-lived, and technologically primitive. They underestimated the small, blue planet called Earth and its stubborn, curious inhabitants. On the orbit of Arden 9, a rocky and resource-rich world, floated the massive human space station Aegis Prime. Its sleek metal hull shone in the light of the distant star. This station was humanity's pride, a place where the best minds worked together to push human technology far beyond what any alien could imagine. Among them was Captain Alara Voss, a woman whose mind was as sharp as the edge of a starship's hull. Alara walked through the long corridors of the station, her boots making soft echoes on the polished floors. Around her, engineers adjusted wires and circuits, technicians monitored glowing screens, and the hum of machines filled the air. Today was different from all other days. Today, the humans would test a weapon that could change everything. The Railgun. Not just any weapon, but a massive, orbital superweapon that could launch projectiles at near-light speed. The concept had existed for centuries in theory, but humans had finally made it real. The Railgun's projectiles could cross star systems in hours. A single shot could destroy an enemy ship the size of a city. It was a technology that could make even the oldest alien empires tremble. Alara reached the control deck where her team was gathered. Among them was Dr. Kieran Moss, the lead engineer, a quiet man with a thin frame and hair that seemed always on end, as if he carried the energy of 1,000 storms in his mind. "Captain," he said, adjusting his glasses, "all systems are ready. The Railgun is operational. We just need your command to fire the test shot." Alara studied the displays. They showed the Railgun's immense magnetic coils glowing faint blue, the projectile encased in a field of energy, and the target coordinates set for a distant asteroid in Arden 9 belt. "Are we certain about the trajectory?" she asked. "Absolutely," Kieran replied. "It will cross 3 million kilometers in less than 30 minutes. Sensors will record every detail. No chance of error." Alara nodded. The station's crew held their breath. Humans had always been clever, but even cleverness alone could not overcome the sheer power of the galaxy's empires. And yet, this day, humans were about to announce that they were no longer weak. "Commence firing sequence," Alara said. Her voice was calm, but inside her chest, her heart raced. The Railgun hummed and vibrated as the energy coils activated. Blue light danced along the barrel, and the station's hull shook slightly under the force being built. Everyone stepped back, keeping their eyes on the central screen. The projectile glowed bright, a sphere of condensed metal and energy. "Firing in 3, 2, 1, a flash of light, a thunderous pulse across the station, and the projectile shot out into space. The team watched as it disappeared into the distance, moving faster than anything they had ever imagined. The sensors tracked its path. Moments later, the target asteroid was hit, fragmented instantly, sending clouds of rock into space. The room erupted into cheers. Humanity had done it. They had created a weapon powerful enough to challenge the galaxy itself. But not everyone was celebrating. Far across the galaxy, in a glittering star system ruled by the Viewership Consortium, alarms rang in the council hall of the fleet. Screens flickered, showing the Railgun's first test. Elder leaders turned pale and generals muttered to each other in disbelief. "How is this possible?" demanded Admiral Tikar, a towering figure with blue skin and ridged scales. "Humans are primitive. Their fleets are tiny. Their technology is centuries behind us, and yet they have built a weapon that can destroy an entire ship in an instant." The council fell silent. For the first time in centuries, the Viewership leaders felt fear, not of war but of unpredictability. Humans had done the unexpected. They had created something that could strike anywhere, anytime, and without warning. Back on Aegis Prime, the celebrations were short-lived. Alara knew this would not stay secret for long. "Prepare the defenses," she ordered. "The Viharic fleet will know about this." "And they will come," Kieran nodded. "Shields are at full power and the defensive turrets are operational. We are ready for anything." Days passed. Rumors of the Railgun spread through alien networks faster than any message could travel. Traders, scouts, and spies reported the test to their masters. The Viharic Consortium began mobilizing their fleets, sending warships to Arden 9 orbit, demanding humans surrender key colonies and their technology. They sent emissaries, their voices dripping with superiority, warning humanity that resistance was pointless. Alara and her council of officers watched the approaching alien fleet. Ships of immense size and firepower moved silently through space, their sleek hulls reflecting the starlight. "They believe they can intimidate us," Alara said softly. "They don't understand humans. We don't give up easily." Lieutenant Eric Dane, a young officer known for his courage and quick thinking, stepped forward. "Captain, what if they attack before we can respond?" Alara turned to him, eyes steady. "Then we show them why they underestimated us." The Railgun is more than a weapon. It is proof that humanity refuses to be controlled. One shot will be enough for them to realize we are not to be trifled with. The first encounter was tense. The Viharic fleet hovered near Arden 9, waiting for humans to surrender. Human ships moved in coordinated patterns, small but highly efficient, protecting the space station. Communications channels were alive with warnings, demands, and threats, yet humans remained silent, letting the aliens stew in uncertainty. Hours passed. Alien ships scanned, probed, and attempted to intimidate. Nothing worked. The humans did not panic, did not overreact, and did not show fear. The crew of Aegis Prime knew their secret weapon was more than a gun. It was a statement. Alara stood on the observation deck, looking at the endless dark speckled with stars. "They think they are the rulers of the galaxy," she murmured. "But they have forgotten one thing: humans always find a way." That evening, under the cold light of distant suns, the decision was made. The Railgun would be fired in combat for the first time. The target, the lead command ship of the Viharic fleet, a massive dreadnought that had never known defeat. The preparation was meticulous. Coordinates were calculated, trajectory confirmed, and safety protocols observed. Every crew member knew the risks, but no one hesitated. Courage was human nature, and today it would be tested in the harshest of ways. "Ready, Captain," Kieran said, voice steady but tinged with tension. Alara nodded. She pressed the activation button. The Railgun hummed, energy building in a blue crescendo. The entire station seemed to vibrate with anticipation. The projectile, a simple yet deadly mass of metal accelerated to near light speed, was ready to show the galaxy what humans could do. And then, in a flash brighter than any star, it launched. The lead Viharic dreadnought did not see it coming. Its sensors were too slow. Its shields, the strongest known in that sector, were irrelevant. The projectile hit with the force of a collapsing star. The dreadnought shattered, sending fragments into the void. Other ships in the fleet paused, stunned, unsure of what had just happened. Silence. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy fell silent. Alien empires across the star lanes were forced to reconsider humanity. The small, fragile species that no one had taken seriously had just demonstrated that it could shape the fate of worlds. On Aegis Prime, the crew erupted in cheers, but Alara remained calm. This was only the beginning. Humans had announced themselves to the galaxy, but the true test of their courage, intelligence, and ingenuity was still ahead. Alara turned to her officers. "We have made them listen," she said. "But now we must show them why humans are not just survivors. We are creators, builders, and warriors, and no empire will silence us." As night fell over Arden 9, the stars shone brighter than ever. Somewhere in the darkness, alien fleets trembled. Somewhere across countless light years, leaders debated in fear. And humanity, small and underestimated, prepared for its next move, ready to take its place in the galaxy not as subjects, but as equals, perhaps even as legends. The spark of humanity had been lit, and soon it would become a flame that could not be ignored. The galaxy had never known silence like this. Across countless star systems, leaders of ancient empires paused, their council chambers quiet as they processed the reports from scouts, spies, and traders. One weapon, fired by a species considered primitive, had shattered a dreadnought in moments. The humans were no longer just a curiosity. They were a threat that no empire could ignore. On Aegis Prime, Captain Alara Voss walked the observation deck, looking at the shattered remains of the V-Herrick dreadnought floating in the void. The silence of space was almost peaceful, but she knew it would not last. Every alien fleet within light years would soon respond. Lieutenant Eric Dane joined her, his face tight with concern. "Captain, other fleets are moving. Sensors show multiple warships from the Iran Collective heading this way, and they are faster than we predicted." Alara nodded, her mind calculating possibilities. Let them come. Every empire underestimated humans. Every empire assumed we were weak. That assumption is gone. Now we use it. Meanwhile, far from Arden 9, in the Iran Collective star system, counselors argued in heated voices. "The humans must be stopped," said Chancellor Vrith, his green-scaled hands clenching over the conference table. "They have no fear, no respect for treaties, and now a weapon that can destroy fleets before we even see them." A younger counselor, trembling with uncertainty, whispered, "Chancellor, perhaps we should attempt diplomacy. Humans may only want to protect themselves." Vrith's eyes narrowed. Diplomacy failed the V-Herrick. They fired first. The humans do not negotiate, they act. And we cannot allow this to spread. Prepare the fleet. We leave in 3 cycles. Back on Aegis Prime, preparations for the next stage were already underway. The railgun was repaired and recalibrated after the test shot. Engineers worked tirelessly, checking energy coils, adjusting targeting systems, and ensuring the station could handle repeated firings. Captain Alara oversaw every detail, her presence calm but commanding. Kieran Moss, pacing near the main console, looked up. "Captain, we have enough energy reserves for 5 shots in rapid succession. Any more and we risk destabilizing the station's core." Alara considered this. 5 shots, that is enough. If any fleet dares to attack, we hit them decisively. The key is precision, not volume. Let them see our power without destroying more than necessary. As the humans prepared, scouts returned with urgent messages. Alien fleets were spreading across nearby systems, sending threats, warnings, and demands. Humanity's sudden rise had fractured old alliances and created panic. The galaxy had never experienced a species rising so fast. Lieutenant Dane studied the sensor readouts. "Captain, they're trying to coordinate. Iran, V-Herrick, and a smaller faction from the Tenari Confederation. They may attempt a joint attack on Arden 9. Alara's expression remained calm. "Then we prepare for strategy. They may have numbers, but humans have creativity, tactics, and speed. They may predict strength, but not ingenuity." The first engagement came sooner than expected. Alien scouts entered Arden 9 system, small ships attempting to test human defenses. The humans allowed them to approach, monitoring carefully. When the scouts tried to fire on a nearby mining colony, the railgun struck, intercepting them mid-flight. The projectiles traveled faster than any alien weapon could track, vaporizing the enemy ships instantly. The effect was immediate. Across the galaxy, alien fleets paused in shock. Reports of entire squadrons destroyed by a single projectile reached distant councils. Fear replaced arrogance. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were masters of technology the galaxy could barely comprehend. Alara convened her senior officers in the command room. We do not seek war, but we cannot allow our colonies to be threatened. We use the railgun strategically, striking only when necessary and always in ways that demonstrate our capability. We must remain unpredictable. Lieutenant Dane frowned. Captain, some of our colonies are under direct threat. What if they attack before we can respond? Alara smiled slightly. Then we show them why humans are not to be underestimated. One well-placed shot can protect an entire system. That is the advantage we hold. As preparations continued, the first human fleet outside Aegis Prime was deployed. Unlike alien fleets, which relied on sheer numbers and massive warships, humans moved with speed, coordination, and tactical brilliance. Small frigates and destroyers flanked the station, patrolling key areas and monitoring enemy movement. Every pilot understood the railgun's significance. It was humanity's trump card, and they would protect it with their lives. The next wave of alien forces arrived in Arden 9 orbit. A dozen Iran dreadnoughts and supporting frigates moved to surround the station. From the observation deck, Alara watched the enemy fleet shimmer against the starlight. Their size was impressive, their firepower unmatched in any other sector. But humans had something the aliens did not: surprise and creativity. Deploy the decoys, Alara ordered. Draw them in, force them into positions where the railgun can be most effective. The decoy ships glided into view, small and fast, baiting the alien dreadnoughts closer to the station. As expected, the alien commanders took the bait, confident in their superiority. But humans had calculated every move. Sensors tracked the lead ship, computing trajectory, speed, and vulnerability. Kier and Moss activated the railgun, energy flowing through the magnetic coils. Firing sequence ready, he said. Alara gave the command. Fire. The projectile launched, a silent flash streaking through space at unimaginable speed. The lead Iran dreadnought barely had time to register the threat before the projectile struck. The result was instantaneous. The massive ship broke apart, sending debris scattering across the void. Other alien ships halted, confusion rippling through their formations. Communication channels buzzed with panic as commanders tried to understand what had just happened. One by one, smaller ships turned back or retreated, unwilling to risk being next. The humans remained calm. They had not overextended, nor had they destroyed more than necessary. The message was clear. Humanity was capable of precision and decisive power. In the following cycles, word of the railgun spread across the galaxy. Alien leaders convened emergency councils, debating how to respond. The usual arrogance of ancient empires was replaced by caution and fear. Every fleet considered an attack, then hesitated, realizing that a single mistake could cost them everything. On Aegis Prime, Alara gathered her officers. "We have made them listen," she said, "but they will not all yield. Some will try to strike back. Others will attempt diplomacy. We must be ready for both. Strategy, speed, and surprise, these are our greatest weapons more than any gun." Lieutenant Dane nodded. "Captain, there are reports of smaller species trying to contact us, seeking alliances or protection. They see humans as a force of stability." Alara's eyes shone with determination. "Then we do not just fight, we lead. We show that humans are not conquerors but protectors. That is how we win respect and loyalty." As the humans strengthened their defenses, the Viharic Consortium and Iran Collective quietly coordinated in secret. They hoped to avoid confrontation until they understood the humans' capabilities. But it was too late. Humanity's presence was already felt across dozens of star systems. Even distant empires, previously indifferent, began to prepare cautiously, unsure of what humans might do next. Despite the tension, life continued on the station. Engineers repaired systems, pilots trained in zero-gravity simulators, and scientists studied alien signals. The humans were a small fraction of the galaxy's population, yet their ingenuity allowed them to act decisively, adapt rapidly, and inspire loyalty. Captain Alara often walked the observation deck alone at night, staring at the stars. Each point of light represented a potential threat or ally, a world full of civilizations that had long ruled without challenge. And yet, here humans were small, persistent, and unpredictable. Her thoughts were interrupted by a message from Kieran Moss. "Captain, analysis of the Railgun's first combat firing shows efficiency beyond our projections. If we continue development, we can reduce firing time and increase precision. Within cycles, this could allow us to neutralize fleets before they reach Arden 9. Alara smiled. "Then we continue. Humans do not just adapt, we evolve. The galaxy has underestimated us for too long. That will change." As the stars shifted above Arden 9, alien empires trembled in silence. For the first time, they were forced to acknowledge a new player, humans. The galaxy had fallen quiet, but not out of peace. It was fear, respect, and uncertainty, all wrapped in one. Humanity had changed the rules. And while the next battles were still ahead, one fact was clear. Humans had arrived, and they would not be ignored. The spark had become a fire, and it would continue to grow. One ship, one planet, one civilization at a time, humans would carve their place in the galaxy, not through fear alone, but through courage, ingenuity, and the refusal to be underestimated. And somewhere in the silence of the stars, alien fleets recalculated their strategies, knowing that humanity's rise was only beginning. The galaxy had changed. Once, humans were considered weak, insignificant, and easy to ignore. Now every council, fleet, and trading post knew their name. Across dozens of star systems, alien empires paused, debated, and rethought centuries of strategy. Humanity was no longer just a new species. It was a force the galaxy could not control, predict, or dismiss. On Aegis Prime, Captain Alara Voss stood on the observation deck, looking at the endless sea of stars. Her station had become the center of human operations in this sector. Around her, ships moved in disciplined patterns, small but efficient. Humans had learned quickly. Speed, strategy, and ingenuity mattered more than sheer numbers. Lieutenant Eric Dane approached, holding a message from one of the smaller systems now seeking alliance with humanity. "Captain, the Curran Expanse wants to join us. They've seen what we did to the V. Harrick and Iran fleets. They want protection and guidance." Alara nodded. "We don't conquer, we protect. That is what makes humans different. Prepare a diplomatic response. Tell them we welcome cooperation." Meanwhile, the V. Harrick Consortium, shaken by the Railgun's first combat use, convened in emergency. Elder leaders argued in loud, angry voices. "We cannot allow humans to grow," said Admiral Tikar, his scaled hand slamming on the council table. "Every fleet we send could be destroyed. We need to act together, or the galaxy will lose balance." Chancellor Viren shook her head. "We cannot attack directly. Their technology is too unpredictable. Even if we combine fleets, they may strike faster than we can respond. We must find another way, spies, sabotage, alliances against them." The humans, however, did not wait for schemes. They moved with decisiveness. Aegis Prime launched several small missions to gather intelligence, recover alien technology, and rescue isolated colonies under threat. Unlike the ancient empires, humans did not wait for approval or consensus. They acted. One such mission was led by Captain Alara herself. A remote colony, Dara's Rest, had been blockaded by a Tenari fleet seeking to claim its mining resources. The colony's defenses were insufficient, and the inhabitants faced starvation and fear. Alara's fleet approached silently, using uncharted routes to avoid detection. "Sensor readings confirm Tenari patrols," reported Lieutenant Dane. "They expect us to attack from the front." "We'll take them by surprise from the rear," Alara smiled. "Exactly. Humans do not follow rules, we create them." The engagement was swift. Using small frigates and rapid maneuvers, human ships disabled the Tenari's defensive grids. The Railgun, carefully positioned, fired a single shot that destroyed the Tenari command ship. The remaining fleet scattered in confusion, unwilling to risk further losses. By the time the colony's people realized the danger was gone, humans had already landed supplies, repaired infrastructure, and left before any retaliation could occur. The Curran Expanse and other smaller civilizations watched these actions with awe. Humans were not just powerful, they were efficient, strategic, and willing to act when others hesitated. News of human operations spread faster than any fleet. Across the galaxy, whispers carried tales of human bravery, ingenuity, and the Railgun's unstoppable force. Back on Aegis Prime, Captain Alara addressed her officers. "We do not fight for glory. We fight to protect what we value and to show the galaxy what humanity can accomplish. Every action must reflect intelligence, courage, and responsibility." Kieran Moss, still analyzing Railgun data, added, "Captain, we've improved energy efficiency. We can fire at longer distances with more precision. A single shot can now neutralize entire fleets if used carefully." Alara nodded. "Then we prepare. Humans will not attack without reason, but any threat to our people or allies will be met decisively." The Viharic and Iran empires, realizing they could not win through fear or numbers alone, began seeking other ways to limit humans. Secret alliances, sabotage attempts, and diplomatic maneuvers filled council halls across the galaxy. Yet every plan was slowed by hesitation, uncertainty, and fear. The humans had proven they could act faster, strike precisely, and adapt beyond expectation. Lieutenant Dane reviewed the latest intelligence. "Captain, they're coordinating more closely now. If we don't act strategically, some colonies could be targeted simultaneously." Alara considered the problem. "Then we act where it matters most. Protect the vulnerable first. Hit decisively where the enemy is overconfident. Humans always find a way when others freeze." A new mission emerged: the rescue of the Orvath system, a cluster of mining and research colonies threatened by a coalition of alien fleets. Human planners simulated dozens of scenarios, anticipating enemy movements and vulnerabilities, while alien commanders relied on rigid hierarchies and predictable formations. Humans relied on creativity and adaptability. The engagement began quietly. Small human ships deployed decoys to draw enemy forces into narrow gaps. The Railgun, prepositioned on a hidden asteroid orbit, fired twice, once at the lead command vessel, then at the energy core of a secondary dreadnought. Both ships shattered instantly, leaving the remaining enemy fleet in disarray. The humans landed teams on the colonies, repairing infrastructure, ensuring supply lines, and evacuating civilians if needed. By the time the surviving alien ships regrouped, the colonies were secure, and humans were gone before a counterattack could be launched. Back on Aegis Prime, celebrations were quiet but sincere. Humans did not seek attention or glory. They sought efficiency and safety for all under their care. Yet, every action reinforced one undeniable truth: humanity had become a force the galaxy could not ignore. Alara met with her council of officers in the central chamber. "We have proven our strength," she said, "but more importantly, we have shown what humans can accomplish when we act with courage and intelligence. This is only the beginning. The galaxy will take notice, and the true test of our leadership is ahead." Kieran Moss interjected. "Captain, projections indicate that if we continue at this pace, humans will be recognized as equals, if not leaders, within a cycle or two. Other species are already requesting guidance, alliances, and protection." Alara's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then we lead not through fear but through example. Humans do not conquer, they innovate, protect, and inspire. That is how we will shape the galaxy." The following cycles brought further recognition. Small species, previously enslaved or oppressed by larger empires, sought refuge and collaboration with humanity. They saw humans not as conquerors but as protectors and innovators. Trade networks began to adjust. Communication lines opened with human stations, and even distant alien fleets paused in hesitation before acting. The railgun remained humanity's symbol of power, but it was not used recklessly. Humans understood that their true strength lay not only in technology, but in creativity, adaptability, and courage. Every engagement reinforced the lesson that humans acted with purpose, intelligence, and precision. One day, a message arrived from the Tenari Confederation. Unlike previous threats, it was diplomatic. "Humans have proven themselves," it read. "We acknowledge your capabilities and wish to negotiate a path of cooperation." Alara read the message aloud to her officers. "We do not seek conquest, but we do accept alliances with those who respect life and freedom. This is how humanity grows, through courage and cooperation, not domination." As night fell over Arden 9, the stars shimmered above. Aegis Prime remained vigilant, its systems ready for any threat, but its crew also knew that they had accomplished something extraordinary. Humans had risen from insignificance to prominence not by brute force alone, but by combining courage, intelligence, and relentless determination. Captain Alara walked to the observation deck one last time before resting. She thought of the countless systems humans had touched, the colonies they had protected, and the empires they had surprised. Somewhere across the galaxy, leaders trembled, councils debated, and fleets hesitated. Humanity had changed the rules, and the echoes of their actions would be felt for generations. "Humans are not just survivors," she whispered. "We are creators, innovators, and protectors, and now the galaxy knows it." In the silence of space, human ships glided between the stars, carrying people who had once been underestimated but now commanded respect. The railgun's hum remained a warning, but more importantly, humanity's spirit shone brighter than any weapon. Courage, intelligence, and determination had become humanity's true signature. Across light years, alien empires reconsidered their strategies, not out of weakness but out of respect and caution. Humans had shown that they would not be ruled, ignored, or underestimated. The galaxy may have once been silent, but now it buzzed with anticipation. Humanity had spoken, and its voice carried farther than any weapon. Captain Alara gazed at the stars and smiled. The journey was far from over, but one truth was clear: humans had arrived. Not as conquerors, but as a force that could inspire, protect, and lead. And while the galaxy had fallen silent when the first railgun fired, humanity's echo would continue to grow, shaping the cosmos for generations to come.